All right. Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. Nick Marro here with Smitty and Occupy Fantasy, as always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a seven-gamer over on FanDuel. There are two late games, or on DK, excuse me. Two more late games. The FanDuel slate is 9 games. One of those being the Lakers, who just bunched a bunch of guys. We will, as always, go game by game at the end of the show. As long as we have time, we'll give you guys a dummy build for each site, answer your questions. Smitty, as I pull up some of the comments on the screen here, what are your initial takes on this one?
Yeah, it's a completely different slate on both sides. I think FanDuel has a late two games, which makes it interesting. DraftKings, we don't get those. There's still some injury news that we're waiting on, and I think it's a pretty good slate. We got some wide totals, which makes it kind of hard, but overall, I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Shuts up, Jizzy Luke, HB Cards, and our own Jayhawk here in the chat. But yeah, let's get into the game by game, man. And you're totally right. I think the wide spreads are going to make things a little bit difficult. First game here, spread not as wide as I thought it might be, 6.5 points. Maybe this is an indication that Giannis, even though he's probable, could end up resting again, which would be obviously very annoying. We did just get word that he's expected to play. So just a situation to keep an eye on. Obviously, with this being the first game, we would have that news prior to lock. For now, Giannis is probable. Other than that, no Kevin Porter or Pete Nance. Nothing else too significant. I mean, if Giannis is in, obviously he looks great here. Have to think he's going to be good to go. Projected for 33 minutes with no KPJ. We've seen Ryan Rollins really step up in a huge way. He's been tremendous. The price on DK, especially where we're lacking the same value that we have on FanDuel, 5,800 for him. Kind of a core play for me there. But yeah, man, those are the two bucks I have the most interest in. You could make a case for guys like Trent and Turner. It would be the big revenge spot here for Miles Turner, who's obviously been with the Pacers his entire career. Went on that run with them last year. I'm sure they're going to do a little bit for him. He might get his ring tonight. I don't know. I haven't looked into that much, but definitely some narrative on the Miles Turner side. Giannis is the most questionable probable guy we have in the NBA. So just keep an eye on that. But I'm going to assume he's in. I like him and Rollins. A little bit of Turner and Trent for me. Smitty, how you breaking down the Bucks here?
Yeah, pretty much the same here. I think it's Giannis and then Rollins look the best here. I don't mind going to Turner. There's a lot of good center plays is the only issue. He definitely scores better on FanDuel, so prefer him there, but he's fine on both sides. Don't mind getting there. And then Giannis, we have a lot of pretty good pay ups on the slate, so he don't stand out, even though it is a pretty good matchup, but he's fine to me.
Yeah, yeah, man. Sounds like we're on the same page there. Then on the other side here, we have the Pacers, who are missing a lot of bodies, but they've been super relevant for fantasy, obviously, to start the year. Just going to pull them up here real quick. But no Tyrese Halliburton, obviously, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, Andrew Nemhard, Obi Toppin, Ray J. Dennis, who's been pretty involved, is questionable. Johnny Furphy, who's been in and out, is probable. So kind of the same roster that we've been dealing with for the most part lately. Siakam, he looks great. I mean, Carlisle does seem like he's willing to pull the plug on games quicker than some of the other coaches, though. I know there was a game against Atlanta where they were down like 15 in the fourth and they just benched everyone. It was kind of ridiculous. So something to keep an eye on. But if this game is competitive, he obviously looks tremendous here. Quentin Jackson, who's been outstanding since he slid into the starting lineup, coming off a massive game against Golden State where he had 56 fantasy points, looks really good here on both sides. Drawing ownership on both DraftKings and FanDuel. FanDuel, where he only has shooting guard eligibility, probably my favorite pacer again, just because he's easy to get to. Jarrett Walker as well. He's been a little bit banged up, but seems to be the type of guy willing to play through it. Those are the three I have the most interest in. Naismith, obviously, boomer bust, needs his shots to fall. Other than that, I'm having trouble getting to much here, but I will say Jackson looks great to me. Obviously, the field's getting there as well, and I do like Siakam as a tournament play. Smitty, how are you going to handle the Pacers here in this spot?
Yep, pretty similar. This is a good game environment. Jackson looks the best by far to me. Don't mind mixing in Jurace. I think he's probably a little too low owned with how many blowouts are projected on this slate. So I don't mind getting there in the mid range. And then Siakam's just kind of another one of those guys. Like we have quite a few of them on the slate that are high upside. So I don't mind getting to Siakam, even though his price is pretty high now.
Yeah, the price is up, but again, if this game's competitive, you have to think he's a big reason for it. 235.5 point total here, I did want to mention. So it is one of the better games on the board, even though it is one that's starting early. So kind of tough to just avoid that one. One we might be able to avoid a little bit. We do have the Timberwolves and the Nets in that 7 o'clock window as well. Nets wide underdogs, no surprise there. No Michael Porter Jr. Not that that would have changed much anyway. They've been absolutely terrible. Historically bad defense, but over on the Timberwolves side of things, Anthony Edwards is out. Obviously, that creates a vacuum in terms of usage for some of these guys. Dante DiVincenzo is available. He was on the injury report earlier in the day. Rob Dillingham, he is also available, both dealing with face injuries, which is kind of funny. But Julius Randle, I mean, if you can't afford Siakam, he's a very similar play. A guy who's seeing increased usage in a great matchup here. Tons of upside. I think the one concern, obviously, is that potential blowout. Rudy Gobert looks good here as well. Again, this defensive front court has been brutal. In 3 of his last 4 games, he did get over 34 minutes. So earlier in the season, we were kind of keeping an eye on his minutes. They weren't getting there right away. It seems they are now. DiVincenzo and Conley probably starting alongside each other are viable. Again, it's just how much exposure do you want to get to this game, knowing it could quickly turn into a blowout? I don't mind Randall, don't mind Gobert. Can't really sit here and call either a priority, though, just knowing the game environment. I might be a little like biased in the opposite direction against my Nets. But yeah, man, are you getting to any of the Timberwolves here?
Yeah, I do think Randall looks pretty good. I'd like to be over the field. 9% seems a little bit low for this spot, so I don't mind getting there. And then Gobert on FanDuel, just priced incorrectly for the minutes he's been playing in a pretty good matchup. So I don't mind getting to Gobert. After that, it's basically McDaniels for me. Just scores better on FanDuel, so I always prefer him there. But the slate's also bigger on FanDuel, so I don't mind him on either site. After that, it's kind of tough. Like you could always take a shot on Nas Reed, but he also has a low floor.
Yeah, his minutes have been kind of all over the place. Obviously, a good fantasy point per minute producer, though. On the net side of things, Michael Porter Jr. is out. Like I said, no Drake Powell. Danny Wolf, the rookie, is available. Not that that's super significant. Haywood Highsmith, who I think most people don't even know is on this roster, is unavailable. But yeah, man, I mean, first gut reaction, I think, or first snap reaction for a lot of people with the Michael Porter news is to just go to a ton of Cam Thomas. The tricky thing for him, though, is, and as a Nets fan, we see this all the time, when he runs into teams that are willing to double team him, he's going to have a lot of trouble. Like if he's getting a lot of Conley McDaniels defense tonight, he might not have a good game, even if his usage is through the roof. So I don't mind Cam mixing him in as long as the ownership stays low. I definitely think he'll have a big game if this team stays close. But if the Timberwolves are smart, and that's to be seen yet, I think this season, then they are going to key in on him defensively, which would maybe open things up for some of these other guys. But it's like, who do you want to trust? Obviously, if Tyrese Martin starts at point guard again, he's probably the most appealing as a value play. Terrence Mann, Zaire Williams, 2 guys who can score. Definitely viable here as cheap options as well. I am interested in Yeoman, the rookie, but the minutes just aren't there for him. Even in a blowout, they seem to cap his minutes. So yeah, it's Martin, man, Williams for me. I do like Thomas. I'm a fan of his, but if I don't know if the ownership continues to climb, I'm very comfortable getting away from it. And Claxton's okay, but again, I just think there's better centers in that price range. So not a ton of love for me on the Nets. Don't mind a few of the wings as like last man in type plays, but even in blowouts, these rotations have been tough to read. So it's not like they have a huge second unit they're going to give minutes to. They're trying to get all the young guys minutes regardless of how the games are playing out. So yeah, just kind of a mess here, man. Can you make any clarity of this Nets team for us?
I wish. Yeah, that's kind of how it seems to me too. It seems just kind of like a mess that I'd prefer to stay away from. The one that stands out is Tyrese Martin. Started yesterday. Um, Assuming he starts again, I think he looks pretty good. Now you take this one of the higher usage leaders out of the rotation. He's going to be asked to do a little bit more offensively, so I think he looks pretty good at his price. After that, it's kind of just a mix for me. Like I don't really want to play anybody, but I don't mind if I get to a little bit of Cam Thomas, but I'll probably be under the field. Just playing yesterday, as many minutes as he played too, which is kind of weird. So I wasn't surprised to see Michael Porter get rested. But like you said, it kind of just almost hurts Cam Thomas more. I feel like the
Yeah.
usage is going to be there, but As far as getting an open shot, it's going to be pretty tough. And now he probably draws the McDaniels defense, which is never fun.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we're on the same page. Appreciate you guys kind of calling out that the model was off center. We fixed that now, so it should be good to go there. Getting into the next chunk of games here, we have a few at 7:30 Eastern. The first one being Utah at Boston. Another game with a very wide total on the or spread, excuse me. Decent total, 233.5 points. On the Jazz side, obviously the most significant news here is that Walker Kessler is going to be out again. Nothing really mentionable outside of that. But what that means is we're going to see Nurk as the starter here again. Didn't really perform well against the Hornets. 21 minutes, only 20 fantasy points. Didn't really take many shots. He was 0 for 3 from three. Wasn't doing much in the paint. Maybe we see a better version of him here now that he's starting and getting more minutes with these starters, but obviously not the best matchup for him taking on a decent defense in Boston. I mean, Laurie's been outstanding. It's just when you're paying up to 8K for a guy, you would hope they'd be a little bit less scoring dependent. Him, Keontae George both look fine. They are getting Isaiah Collier back tonight, who could cut into the minutes of someone like George, but I don't think we see that right away. So yeah, I'm fine with Laurie George. I think Nurkic is solid on DK where you could play two centers. He's overpriced to me on FanDuel, but you got to proceed with some caution, right? Obviously, we haven't seen him spike a huge ceiling yet this year. Maybe he gets some run here, but you're also worried about the blowout. And with Nurk being a vet, he'd be one of the first guys off the floor. So I don't know. I don't mind Laurie George. I think Nurk is good, but he's probably more of just a cash game type play for me. I think I'd want to get away from him in tournaments on DK where he's 30% owned. Smitty, do you have much interest here in Utah?
Yep, you said it pretty well. I think Laurie's probably my favorite to get to here. At 3% ownership on DraftKings, low ownership on FanDuel. Don't mind being about double the field on him. I think he looks pretty good. And then Nurk, a tough one. Didn't do much yesterday. The minutes he still played pretty decent minutes, so I don't mind going there. Nothing really to be worried about on the Boston side defensively. So I don't mind getting there if this game does stay close. He's probably not a reason why, but Laurie probably is. So I don't mind getting to Laurie, especially when I have Boston pieces. And then Keontae, I kind of want to wait and see how this role looks with Collier back in it before I pay over 7K for Keontae.
Yeah.
If he shows up in a lineup or two, I'm not going to take him out, but not someone I'd be playing in like a single entry or a three max.
Yeah, I mean the matchup doesn't help either. But the main reason we've been so bullish on him is the minutes have been ridiculous. But even if Collier is limited, it's going to cut into him. We do have a question from Jose here that we're going to be able to use as a segue into Boston. He's saying, "How does Ryan Rollins look on the model compared to Pritchard and White?" So OF index is kind of grading upside, right? We have Pritchard slightly above Rollins, and then White is considerably higher than both. But when you look at the value, it's actually Rollins who rates better on DK than the others. So, yeah, I think regardless of where you're going, Jose, you can feel pretty good about any of those guards. White definitely has the most upside, but you're paying a premium for it. So just keep that in mind. Talking more about the Boston Celtics here, Jason Tatum obviously out for the year. Nothing else too significant to even mention. The guards do look good. They've been shooting a little bit better. Pritchard still remains the easiest to get to just because of the price. Jaylen Brown's usage has been through the roof, though, and he fills that thin forward position. I like all three of these guys. Going to continue to play them. Josh Minot was kind of the flavor of the week last week. They had a few good games, and then as soon as the ownership started to go to him, he kind of fell off a cliff. I don't know. He's okay as like a last piece in. Keita at center. I do think this is a better matchup with no Kessler for him, but his minutes have been all over the place. So really, it's their big three, and I say big three with air quotes because it's not the biggest three, but White and Pritchard all look pretty good to me here. Again, really good matchup. Utah has been terrible defensively. They've been pacing up opponents. As long as this game stays somewhat close, and even if it doesn't, I think they could all hit value where they're priced. So yeah, and then just to follow up quickly before I throw it over to you, Smith, asking about Mano minutes. We have him for 23. And again, I think the way they've been dealing with him is like when he's playing well, they'll give him a few extra. So I do think he has a ceiling of 30 minutes. It's just smarter to kind of project him under that because more often than he's capped around 22. So when he was hot, he played 28 against New Orleans, 32 against Cleveland. Last two games, excuse me, just 22 and 19. It's going to see more from guys like Hauser, who obviously I don't have much interest in either way. But yeah, just the guards. If you include Brown in that group, Smitty, how about you for Boston?
Yep, pretty similar. White, Pritchard, and Brown. I prefer them in that order too, just due to pricing. I think White's by far my favorite here. I like him a lot. The usage has been there. Good matchup against Utah, and his price has come down since he just hasn't been making a shot. So, I like getting to White, and then Pritchard. He's well priced on both sides. So I like getting there. Jalen Brown has a ceiling. He's somewhat scoring dependent sometimes, but in a good game environment, I think he's a pretty good play. So, someone I'm getting to around, yeah, I'm around the field on Jalen Brown, but over the field on White and Pritchard, I think they're both good. And then Minot is kind of one of those dudes you play when he's low owned, and you kind of get away from when he's high owned. So, I'm getting to a little bit of him, but I like some other value pieces more.
Yep, I'm with you. Probably more of a play on DK where we don't have that Lakers value, but again, the minutes haven't necessarily been there consistently. Still fine as a last piece in under the assumption he continues to start. Another game we have at 7:30 here between the Wizards and the Knicks, another very wide spread, 235.5 point total. On the Wizards side of things, Chris Middleton is questionable. That's kind of significant. At the same time, I mean, they did just get Bilal Coulibaly back, so um, I don't know. I don't think there's a ton of value on any of these guys. Kaishan George has been playing really well. We have him for 31 minutes. He's another guy who's been playing a bit more with Koulibaly out. Koulibaly, great point per minute producer. We have him capped around 27. Sar is there in close games. It seems like they are willing to rest him over some of the other young players in games that do get out of hand. But again, it's a lot of speculation with this. And we see this with the Nets. We see this with the Pelicans at times. A lot of these young teams, it's just kind of hard to gauge where the minutes are. But what we can do for tournaments is find the upside. I think George, Sar, Koulibaly are all decent. McCollum, if Middleton is out, I don't mind mixing in. I'm very bullish on Trey Johnson as a young player. It's just with this team having such a crowded rotation now, I think I just kind of have to get off that bandwagon for a little bit. But yeah, man, fine with George, Sar, Koulibaly, but none are really core options for me. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. If we do get Middleton out, I think it makes it even more interesting. Sar is my favorite out of
Mhm.
this group. I like Sar. He's under 7K in a matchup where Mitchell Robinson isn't playing, so he's going against Towns, which is pretty favorable. So I think Sar makes a lot of sense. Kaishawn George, he's fine if I get there, and then like Carrington, if Middleton's out, I don't mind mixing in Carrington. Even with Middleton out, I don't think he's like a smash play or anything. But Trey Johnson, always one you can mix in as well. And then Cam Whitmore kind of becomes a little more interesting if Middleton's out, but that's just for large field only. Like in a single entry three max, I'd be fine with playing Sar.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's definitely shown the most upside alongside George. And again, not the best matchup, but Robinson being out is significant. Using that as a segue into the next year, as we've mentioned, no Mitchell Robinson. Josh Hart is a true questionable game time decision. He's been coming off the bench, but if he's out, we could see more minutes for McBride, a couple more minutes for Bridges or OG. Those are the guys in. But already, I think we have to have a lot of interest in Towns here. Just too cheap, especially playing the five. He sees a big boost in his rebounding with Robinson off the floor. Just a little bit underpriced on both sites. And now he's forward only on DK. Actually makes lineup construction a little bit easier. On FanDuel, you can play him at power forward or center. He obviously looks tremendous here. The one knock on him, if there is one, is just the very high ownership. I believe he is the most popular play on both sites this evening. So we like Towns. He's excellent. Just make sure you're getting a little bit different in tournaments if you are playing him. Then Brunson looks pretty damn good here as well. Another guy who's been playing 32 to 35 minutes a night, still seeing plenty of usage. Yeah, I mean, all the Knicks starters are fine here for me, man. And if Hart's out, I like getting to a little bit of McBride, assuming he starts just as a value piece. I trust him over some of these other guys that we've been listing in the very, very cheap range. But yeah, Towns is kind of a core play. I like Brunson more in lineups without him, but I do want to mention the wide spread here. There is always that slight risk that we see these guys bench late if the game gets out of hand. It's no longer Tom Thibodeau. He's not going to put these guys in the ground night to night. It's Mike Brown who I don't know. We've heard players kind of walk all over him, so we'll see what happens. But Towns is a good play. Speaking, how do you handle him in the Knicks?
Yeah, I'm playing a ton of Towns. I actually have it set for. I built as if Hart was going to rest. Just kind of makes sense with his injury history and the way he was throughout the offseason as well. So I kind of have him out. I have McBride. I'm over the field on McBride. Like you said, feel pretty good about him, and I want to go into the slate with some exposure. That way, have a pivot to like Tyrese Martin or some of the early chalkier guys. So I don't mind getting there. And then it just makes all the other guys better. OG and Mikal Bridges, I think, are both pretty solid plays. And then in large field, I don't even mind mixing in like a Jordan Clarkson if Hart is out.
Yeah, man. We'll need that Hart news. I don't know why they wouldn't just rest him at this point. This is a game they should be able to win without him pretty easily. So we'll wait and see on that. Again, news we should have soon. We did get a question, and again, we're happy to answer questions. We prefer them to be about the games we've talked about or already talked about. Luke, this is a good one. Koulibaly or Naismith? I'm obviously going to check the model here, Smitty, but do you have a preference between the two? I tend to lean Koulibaly just because I think he's shown the upside more consistently. But pretty tough matchup for him, so it is tough.
Yeah, that's tough. I kind of prefer Koulibaly, but he's also on like a soft minutes cap, so it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, the model does rate Koulibaly slightly higher in terms of upside. We have Naismith for 31 minutes, though, and Koulibaly for 27. So it's close, Luke. Looking at ownership, though, no one is playing Koulibaly. So if you're playing tournaments, I do think he's the better play. But if you're playing like cash games, something very small field, Naismith does seem to have the slightly better floor. So Koulibaly in most instances, excuse me. Henry's saying Jalen Duran 30 rebounds or we riot. We'll definitely be talking about him in a little bit. But yeah, let's keep plugging away here. We're into the 8 o'clock window now. Again, all these games are on both sides. The two late games on FanDuel only. We will break those down first. We do have the Dallas Mavericks here taking on the Houston Rockets. So the last time these teams played, I think it's got a little out of hand. I'd have to look into that. But no AD for the Mavericks here. Obviously, no Kyrie or Derek Lively. Dante Exum is still out as well. For whatever reason, Clay Thomas continues to stick in the starting lineup. He's been pretty useless in every regard, whether defensively or as a spacer. D'Angelo Russell coming off his best game, I think, period, as a Maverick, where he had 45 fantasy points in just 29 minutes. He should be running the point here, especially with AD out. I think it makes a lot of sense. A guy who can create his own shot makes Cooper Flag better too, him being able to play off the ball. So I do like D'Lo here, and again, he's probably going to be coming off the bench. It's just this is another game with a wide spread against a great defense. This is not a good matchup by any stretch of the imagination. He's the one guy I really have interest in. I don't mind Cooper Flag. It's just this is just such a bad matchup. He really put up a dud against them last time out. I don't think I can go back there. PJ feels a little bit overpriced for the matchup as well. So Dallas, one team I don't really have much of right now. I guess if you want to play into the blowout, you could maybe get to someone like Brandon Williams, who would play fourth quarter and is already in the rotation if the game does stay close. But again, that's like a super large field tournament dart. Don't want to recommend that with too much. Not much here for me from Dallas, Smitty. How about you?
Yeah, I'd be fine with getting to nobody from this team. Pretty tough to get to. I think D'Lo makes most sense, but like you said, it's a brutal matchup. Um, I mean, they're GPP plays. I don't mind getting to like a D'Lo, and that's pretty much it. After that, PJ Washington does have a ceiling, but just prefer to stay away.
Yeah, and it is a back to back for Houston, right? So maybe the game's a little bit more competitive than we're thinking. Regardless, Dallas not the best spot for them. Over on the Houston side of things, big news that we're waiting on is Jabari Smith, who's listed as questionable. No Dorian Finney-Smith or Fred Van Fleet. They'll be out for a little bit. But yeah, man, if Smith is out, Eason's going to steam to maybe the most popular play on the slate, as he should if he were to start here. Great matchup, very cheap, great fantasy point per minute producer. So he'll probably play as many minutes as he normally does when he's in the rotation with Smith out in 3 quarters, if that makes sense. Really, really like him here. Again, more so if Smith is out. I think you could use him as a tournament dart either way. Durant has been really productive. Sengun looks fine. Good matchup for him. Thompson's been stellar on DK, especially at 7,300. I think it makes some sense. But again, it's just another game where we're a little bit concerned about the blowout if we're trying to pick between some of these guys in the mid to high price range over some of the others. Like, obviously, we want the competitive spots. But again, picking blowouts and calling blowouts in the NBA is not an easy thing to do. I like Eason here regardless. I will absolutely love Eason here if Jabari Smith sits. Thompson, probably my second favorite play again, just because of pricing. But Smitty, how are you handling the Rockets?
Yeah, I think they all look pretty appealing. I mean, you definitely have some blowout concern, but Eason looks good either way. If we get Jabari out, he looks even better. Amin Thompson, he's just too cheap, so I like him. And then Sengun looks really good. But then again, I mean, you have blowout concerns, so you kind of have to build appropriately, but he could still get there even in three quarters, so I don't mind it. KD is fine. Jabari Smith, if he does play, I think is playable as well. But as of right now, I'm overweight Eason. Just kind of, I think he's a pretty good play. And then if we get Jabari out, he's even better.
Yeah, right there with you, man. Definitely like Eason either way. I think the price and the value that he allows makes it very appealing. We're kicking my A like Debo power. Appreciate you, my man. Um, Quoting Friday there, great movie. But let's keep moving here. We got Detroit and Memphis. We did get a comment about Jalen Duren. Detroit favorites on the road here, 236.5 point total. Tobias Harris laid add to the injury report. He's going to be questionable with an ankle sprain. Jaden Ivey is out, as is Marcus Sasser. They did just get Levert back, though. So if Harris is out, again, I think it's a situation where we see a slight boost to some of these other guys, but it's not as big of a boost as it would have been a couple games ago before Levert was back in the rotation. The guy trying the most ownership here is actually Amon's brother, Oscar Thompson, who has been playing more minutes. Still not getting to 30 consistently, but in terms of production, he looks good here. I feel better about it if Harris is out, but I think either way, he's a viable piece here in the mid range in a pretty competitive game with a high total. Cade has really come around lately. I think he's one of the better pay ups on the slate coming off back to back games, over 65 fantasy points. Good matchup for him here as well. He's been a lot better at home for whatever that's worth. Again, we're dealing with a small sample of data. I don't want to dig too deeply into that. This is a road contest for them, though. And then Duren, I want to give credit to who brought it up. Henry here saying 30 rebounds or we right. Against Jock Landell, you would think he could absolutely eat here. I do like him on both sides. I think he's priced reasonably. We've seen a wide range of outcomes for him. We're talking about what he's done all season, but the only bad games have come against Houston and Cleveland, which are two of the best defensive front courts in basketball. He's really not going to see that here tonight. So I like Durant a lot. One of my favorite tournament plays on the slate where he's sub 20% on both sites. Kate as well, I just think is under owned, but I do like Detroit maybe more than I usually do, Smitty. How about you here against Memphis on the road? Oh, you're mute, brother.
My bad. But yeah, I think this
All
game's
good.
appealing. Good spread on a slate where we don't have very many, and it also has a good total. So I think it's a good one to get into. Tobias Harris is questionable. If he plays, I think he's okay. Asar Thompson looks like one of the better mid-range value plays on the slate. And then Duran, the model absolutely loves him, so I'm kind of buying into it. Playing quite a bit of Duran, and then Cade, probably my favorite spend on the night in terms of price. I like getting there quite a bit on both sides. And then if we do get Tobias out, it kind of gets interesting. Isaiah Stewart, they've played him alongside Duran, so I think he's pretty interesting. And then Ron Holland as well. At his price on both sides, I think he'd be a really strong value.
Yeah, Holland's shown to have decent point per minute production. Levert also backing in that rotation. His minutes haven't necessarily been there, but on FanDuel, where he's just 3,900, I don't think it's crazy in large field if Harris sits. Wouldn't be a priority though. Really, really do like Duran though. And again, I'd want to mention this in the model. If you're sorting by value today, DK value. Let's see here. Top five value play, and he's 7K. So that kind of tells you how much the model likes him here. On FanDuel, even with all those Lakers and everything else, he's the third highest rated value play. So Durant looks excellent on both sides. Probably going to be in most of my single under lineups tonight. Over on the Memphis side of things, John Morant was, I don't know, suspended for a game. Whatever. Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, PJ Hall, all out. Gigi Jackson, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen, Javon Small, all out. So nothing too significant. They are getting Jaw back, as I mentioned. I don't know. It's kind of two prices for him, right? DK, there's better guards in that range. I'd rather be playing Brunson or getting him to Cade or going down to Amon Thompson. FanDuel, though, at he does look really solid. Totally fine getting to him over there. Jaron Jackson, I just think there's better plays in his price range. And then everyone else feels a little bit overpriced because Jaw missed that game. So I don't know. I like the talent of Cow. I just don't think I can get there. KCP is about as boom or bust as it gets. Prefer not to play him at all. Jock Landell as a value center. There's a world where it works out. I just think I'd rather find salary for some of these other centers we're talking about here. It's jaw or bust for me, and it's more so just on FanDuel, Smitty. I know we love the Detroit side, but kind of alarmed that I'm not getting more Memphis. You get into much of this team right now?
Not really. Find it a pretty tough team to get to just because of pricing. I think Jaw and Triple J on FanDuel make the most sense. Coward would be okay, but it's just hard with how the pricing is. So I think Jaw on FanDuel, and then as well as Jaron Jackson.
Yep, right there with you, man. A few quick bits of news that just came through. Furphy and Ray J. Dennis are both available for the Pacers. Still like Quentin Jackson, assuming he's starting. But that could cut into him a little bit. Not enough to matter. Definitely takes a guy like Mac McClung out of consideration. But yeah, Furphy and Dennis are playing. Just wanted to highlight that quickly. Last game on the DK slate, we have the 9 o'clock game between the Kings and the Denver Nuggets. Looking at a 236.5 point total. Nuggets are favored at home. And on the Kings side, Zach LaVine's available, but no Malik Monk or Keegan Murray. They are getting Schroeder back. Um, but yeah, man, are we going to see Russ continue to start at point? I think we do. I don't mind getting to him here, even as this team gets a little bit healthier. Obviously, the absence of Monk, who's out for personal reasons, does open some things up. Not a great matchup, but if this game does stay competitive, I don't mind getting to him. Again, some revenge here, like Russ has with everyone in the NBA on the road against Denver. Levine's okay, just kind of scoring dependent for that range. Sabonis, not the best matchup, and his ceiling hasn't spiked as much yet this season. Just trying to confirm that on my other monitor here. But yeah, decent game against Milwaukee last time out. Still only 23 to 24% usage for him. It feels a little bit low than we're used to seeing. But Smitty, are you getting to much of Sacramento? I mean, I don't mind Russ. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. Other than that, there's really nothing I'm all that bullish on.
Yeah, it's mainly just Russ for me. Sabonis, you could argue, is slightly underpriced, but with how he's played this year, it's probably appropriate. It's mainly just Russ, and then you could take GPP shots on like a Zach Levine, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, right there with you, man. Over for Denver, probable, as is Jamal Murray. A couple of G Leaguers are listed for whatever reason. Nothing we need to break down, though. Jokic, 16.8 OF index rating is the best on the slate ahead of guys like Giannis, Cunningham, and Sengun. I think if you can find a way to afford him, obviously he's a great play. He does seem to be a little bit lower owned than we usually see him. Jamal Murray, still a great play, continues to produce at a high level. Okay. Those are the two I have the most interest in. You could obviously mix in guys like Christian Brown or Aaron Gordon. I just don't really find myself getting to them often. Yeah, like Murray, Joker, probably wouldn't want them in the same lineup, but I do think those two are really solid tournament plays.
Yeah, exactly the same. Murray and Jokic, and really no one else for me.
Cool. Yeah, for the sake of time, we'll keep it going here. So that is it for the DK slate. We'll do that dummy in just a minute, but let's get through these games over on FanDuel. We got the Lakers here taking on the Trailblazers. That spread seems to be widening as we get news that a lot of these Lakers are going to be out. DeAndre Ayton is questionable. Luka's out. LeBron's obviously out. No Austin Reeves or Gabe Vincent either. So what is going to be left here? The projected lineup I'm seeing right now is Smart, Laravia, Vanderbilt, Rui, and Ayton. I do think that Laravia is probably my favorite here. Connect is drawing a ton of ownership as well. He is very deep, but he is so scoring dependent. And I feel like every single time he's chalk, he busts. So probably comfortable getting in under the field on Connect if I'm over on FanDuel. I do like Laravia, though. Smart's fine. I think he's priced where he should be. Rui as well, just a decent option if you do need the mid-range value. But you got to wait and see on Ayton. I think if he's in, he's viable here. Just tough to call him a priority without Luca or Reeves kind of setting up that pick and roll for him. I don't know, man. I like Laravia a lot. Smart would probably be second for me. And I'm pretty comfortable saying I want to come in under on Connect. But how are you handling the Lakers here?
Yeah, I think they all look pretty good. This is kind of where you get your value on FanDuel. You have Aiton that's underpriced for the role he will have if he plays. Laravia and Smart both look pretty good. And then Rui's underpriced for his role. Connect is kind of fine. Like he probably plays a ton either way, even in a blowout. So I think he's all right. Um, and then Vanderbilt, I guess, is in play. I don't know. It just a lot of it depends on Aiton, which makes this slate kind of hard because it's one of the last games. But Laravia and Smart probably the best place here, and then Aiton if he does play.
Yeah, and I do want to say if Aiton's out, Jackson Hayes has been getting a ton of minutes, even Aiton in. And I think Hayes at his price would be really appealing as value. So say you build with Aiton in, you could probably upgrade somewhere else and the Jackson Hayes with that, what is it, 3,800 or whatever it is, 2,800. So maybe just have that 2 for 2 set up for yourself because Hayes would look really, really good here if Aiton does sit. On the Portland side, I do see the news coming in, guys. We will talk through that in just a moment. No Scoot Henderson still, obviously Dame Lillard out as well. Shady on Sharp is probable. No Matisse Thybulle or Blake Wesley. Denny is Denny. I think he's a little bit underpriced. He looks good. Fine getting to Drew, who does finally seem to be about price where he should be. He's been tremendous this season. Clinton getting no love. I do think it's a decent spot for him, but tough to really call him a priority. Sharp could obviously spike a ceiling. I like how much they dropped his price. Now just 5,700 on FanDuel. He is very scoring dependent himself, but a guy who was 7K earlier in the year. So we are getting a bit of a buy low spot on him. But Denny, Holiday, maybe a little sharp for me. Smitty, how are you handling Portland?
Yep, pretty similar. I think it's Denny and Drew, and then everyone else is just kind of a GPP play. But it is a pretty good matchup, so I don't mind getting to Denny or Holiday.
Yep, right there with you. We do have one more game before we get to that. The HP cards, Smith and Middleton are both out. I imagine he's saying Jabari, right? Um,
Yeah.
Waiting to confirm this. Yeah, Chris Middleton is out, and Tari Eason starting for Jabari Smith, probably the best play on the slate now. So let's keep that in mind. One more game here, guys, then we will get quick dummy builds going. Still making decent time, actually. We got the Miami Heat taking on the Los Angeles Clippers in LA. Pretty tight total, or pretty tight spread here. We said that once at the beginning. I keep messing it up.
Yeah.
226 and a half point total. But yeah, on the Miami side of things, Hero obviously still out, so is KJ. Jovic is available. Norm Powell questionable. That is significant. If he's out, we have seen boosts for guys like Hawkins, Larson, Fontecchio. I mean, all of these guys become decent value plays. Wiggins obviously in the mid range, but he does see a spike in his usage. Bam has been good. Not the best spot for him here against a pretty good defense, but this team is drawing really no ownership. I will say Powell maybe wants to get on the floor here against his former team. Maybe he doesn't care. Again, it's a regular season game, but he would be viable if he's in. But nobody playing any Miami tonight. Smitty, are you?
Not really. It could be a team I get to in late swap, just getting off some of the chalk if my lineups aren't doing well. I think that's a play you can make. Hawkes is at a decent price. He's played a ton of minutes yesterday, so I don't know how much they'll run him out today. And you never know with Spo. So I think he's playable. Wiggins and Powell are both fine. Prefer going to Powell if he's in. But other than that, there's really nothing. Like Bam's fine, but Clippers are a pretty tough defense and they play really slow. So kind of a pace down spot for the Heat.
Yep, right there with you. Hawkes would be the one I'd have interest in more than anyone again if we get word that Powell's out. On the Clipper side of things, let's see here, pulling them up. Jordan Miller's out. Not that that's significant, as is Kobe Sanders. So they're pretty healthy. I do not mind the prices on FanDuel where this game actually matters in Harden or Leonard or Zubac, who does finally seem to be playing minutes closer to what we expected from him coming into the season. 33 plus and 2 out of his last 3. Tough to call him a priority though, but again, if you're waiting for these late games, you have to pivot off 8, and you don't want to go to Jackson Hayes, which I would do honestly, or maybe 8 and and you don't want to play him. Is a very viable pivot there, but fine getting a Leonard Harden. Collins at his price, I mean 4,900. It is interesting. At the same time, I do think we have enough in that price range now, especially with Eason becoming what he is. But yeah, man, Harden Leonard here for me. Don't mind Zoo, but really nothing I'm prioritizing for the Clippers. A little bit surprised they're as popular as they are, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they are on the front end of a back to back too, and Kawhi plans on playing both. So I kind of worry about the minutes for him a little bit. Maybe they do limit him a little bit
Good
so he
call.
can play both games. Um, But overall, it is a pretty good spot. It's a pace up spot. I prefer Zubac over any of them, but then again, he's center only, so it makes it tough. Harden's underpriced, so I don't mind getting to Harden, but overall, it's just not a great spot, I don't think.
Luke, to answer this is definitely Eason for me. Smitty, Hachimura or Eason for you?
Eason.
Yeah. Henry, going to answer this directly using the model again with no Mitch Rob. Maybe we see a few extra minutes. We just have him for 11 minutes. Again, I think Hart is in right now in the model. So Hart's out. That probably spikes to around 22 to 24. So just to answer that one, Henry. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the dummy Smitty. I'm going to start with Tari Eason. I think he's kind of a no brainer. Um, Anyone else you want to prioritize here? I mean, there's a lot to like on this slate. I do like Detroit. Do you want to get Duran?
Yeah, let's get Duran.
Maybe I don't know. All right. To answer this one, definitely Quentin Jackson. Assuming he starts again, Anthony. I don't trust Collier until he's a couple games in and we see those minutes consistently. He will be involved, but Jackson feels way safer. And saying that, do we go ahead and play Jackson or do we play
Yeah,
him with Rollins? One or the other or both?
yeah, I think we could even play both. Both of them look pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. I think Jackson is shooting guard too. Yep. Nice. Okay. Around 7K per left per player. We kind of have to get Towns in there, I think.
Yeah,
Um, Anyone else you're really interested in over here?
I like
Hart's
Derek
out.
White.
Maybe McBride.
Yeah,
White.
yeah.
Okay. I like it. Tough to argue with that one. He looks pretty damn good. 6K for forward or utility. We can play two centers if we want. We don't have any like true pay ups other than Cat, but having three guys 7K plus kind of makes that tough. I do like balance tonight, though. I will say I think Giannis is a good play, widespread. Jokic, good play, but a widespread. I mean, Cade's been good, but on the road, I don't know if he's as good. So I don't know. Throw a name at me, Smith, if you got one. Otherwise, I'll keep scrolling here.
Um, I don't know what
Uh,
that would leave us. I was gonna say Asar Thompson.
awesome. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking too. So, okay, 6,200 left. This is a beauty. I mean, we got Russ if we want in the late game.
Yeah,
You could go to Schroeder instead. I don't know, probably Russ, right?
yeah.
Miles Turner maybe is a pivot. I don't mind. But yeah, something like this, guys. And you can make adjustments if you wanted to upgrade the Russ spot. We're not super bullish on him there at 6K. If he was a little cheaper, I would be. But let's go ahead and jump over to FanDuel real quick. Again, we got the Lakers. I think we got to start with Laravia. I want to get away from Connect, man. I may be down for that. But do we want to just jam and Smart? Is there anyone else we want to prioritize for them? I mean, if 8 is out, I love Hayes, but we're not going to know that.
Yeah, yeah, I think we them two is probably a good start.
Yeah, that works for me. And yeah, I think most people will be playing Connect. If you guys are playing cash games, I will not be. But let's see here. Point guard. Probably going to get Cat in over here too, right?
Yeah,
Throw him at
yeah,
power forward. We got Oster on one side. Let's go Amen on the other.
I
The
like it.
Twins. I mean, Jalen's even cheaper over here. I like that a lot. What else I'm missing? Somebody this seems like a
Um,
pretty good core group.
yeah, I think that's pretty good. Derek White's also there too. Russ is a few $100 cheaper.
Let's go Pritchard since we went right white on DK.
I like it.
He's a little cheaper. And yeah, I mean, 8K per left. I mean, we could pay up for Harden, have something in the late game, and then I don't know what are we left with here.
Move around.
Lori, I like Lori. That's
Yeah,
cool. Something like this. A couple last second questions here. Jose Nurk or Bobby Portis? With Giannis and Jose, I'm almost never getting to Bobby Portis, so that's going to be Nurk for me. Smitty, how about you?
yeah, nerd, by far.
Yeah, and again, if Giannis was out, that would be Portis. Even though Portis did not look great that game that Giannis was out the other day, I would rather get to Miles Turner than either if you could today. But again, he hasn't been all that great either. Can you play White and Pritchard in the same lineup? I think you can. maybe want a Utah Jazz player. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I have a max two of Pritchard, White, and Jalen Brown. I just wouldn't want all three, but I'm fine with White and Pritchard.
Cool. Right there with you, man. All right, everyone. That does it for Monday evening show. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below. Just $7 for weekly access, one of the lower price points of entry in the industry. Get access to the model. Smitty, are you in Discord today, or do we got Jayhawk going right now?
Yeah, I'm in Discord.
Okay, Smitty's on
Yeah.
double duty, so we got to get out of here. Any last thoughts, Smitty? Just good luck, everyone. Let's crush tonight, right?
Yep. Yep. Good luck tonight.
Awesome. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.